Hey, what's up? Welcome back. If you're watching this, you're either preparing for the NAC OSCE or you're already deep in preparation. So in this video, I'm sharing 11 practical things that actually helped me do well in my NAC OSCE. This is not textbook stuff. You won't find this in a textbook. It's practical things from someone who was once in your shoes. So let's jump right into it. Number one, practice with another person taking the exam. At first, I was practicing alone, I was reading aloud, watching videos. It felt productive to me, but when I did my first mock scenario with someone else, I froze. I was stumbling through my words and I realized that I actually didn't know how to interact like it was real. So I found a study buddy also taking the NAC, and we started doing full role play stations, taking turns as the patient. We used a stopwatch, used a clipboard, everything like it was real day. If you can, find a partner and treat every practice like it's game day. Number two, you have to know the exam format inside out. I wasted so much time memorizing drug dosages like what's the drug dose for adult amoxicillin, and it turns out I didn't even need that information. I finally read the exam guide properly and realized that the NAC OSCE really isn't testing your memorization. It's all about clinical knowledge, clinical reasoning, and communication. There's actually 7 competencies that's been tested. History taken, the diagnosis, you have management, communication skills, physical exam, investigations, and data interpretation. Also, you should know the generic names for the drugs because brand names vary by country. So if you're learning drug names, make sure you learn the generic names. Let's go over the exam format quickly. You have 12 stations, 2 of which are pilots, so they won't be scored. You have 11 minutes per station and a 2-minute break in between stations. You can take this exam up to 3 times. Even if you passed or failed, it doesn't matter. This is different than the MCCQE one where if you passed, you can't take it again. If you haven't seen my MCCQE one video, make sure you go watch it up here. For the NAC OSCE, your most recent attempt is the one that counts. Number 3, stick to a routine. Always in my practice early on, I would forget to wash my hands. Sometimes I would even forget to introduce myself. It felt scattered, a bit unprofessional. But eventually, I built a fixed routine and drilled it in until it became second nature to me. Even when I was nervous, I could run that on autopilot. My first 20 seconds in every video became the same. Knock, enter, wash my hands, introduce myself, ask the patient's name, and how they would like to be addressed. That small but consistent routine helped ground me every single station, every single time. Number 4, create a general framework for your history and your physical examination. When I started, I approached every case like a blank slate. I'll forget certain things like your family history, allergies, medications. But then when I made a checklist in my head, for the history, I would hit, for example, past medical history, medications, allergies, family history, social history every time. And for the physical exam, the same thing applies. Use a general framework and then tailor it down to the specific case itself. For example, for the MSK, I always use the framework look, feel, move. And then depending on the station itself, you have to adjust. These frameworks gave me consistency and adaptability if needed. Number 5, use a good case-based textbook. At one point, I was jumping between random PDFs, WhatsApp groups, Reddit threads, trying to find different cases. It was quite chaotic, but then I found one textbook and settled on that. The NAC OSCE, a comprehensive review. It has very well organized cases with solid explanations, and it felt more reliable than scattered internet files. Having one go-to resource gave my studying some structure. If I were to go back, I'll start with this textbook from day 1. Number 6, do a mock exam or join a structured program, if you can afford it, that is. I was feeling really good about my prep until I did my first full mock exam. I ran out of time, I skipped key questions, I was all over the place, and then I realized how different it feels when you're under pressure. That's the benefit of doing a mock exam or doing a structured program. A structured program would help you develop that system that I spoke about in point 4, a proper system, and more importantly, you get professional feedback from the instructors, things that you probably wouldn't have caught on your own. Stuff like pacing, time management, removing your filler words, and adjusting your tone. Doing a mock under timed conditions is invaluable, especially if it's your first time taking the exam. Number 7, every station is a fresh start. During my mock exam, there was a station where I completely lost track of time. I left that room feeling like I'd bombed the whole exam. But then at the end, the instructor reminded me that every station is scored independently, and that completely changed my mindset. I started using the 2-minute break in between stations to reset, breathe, and start fresh. You cannot carry one bad performance into the next stream. Start over every time and stick to your routine. Speaking of time, number 8, time management is critical. Early on, I'd spend way too long on history, and then I'll scramble through my physical exam or management. I then realized that knowing what to say wasn't enough. You had to finish on time. And so I started wearing a digital watch, and the first thing I'll do when I enter a room is glance at the clock. I learned to feel what 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or even 8 minutes felt like, so I can properly pace myself. That awareness helped me throughout my whole exam and helped me finish every encounter properly. Number 9, don't fake a Canadian accent. Just speak clearly, please. Being an IMG, I used to feel self-conscious about my accent. I even sometimes tried adjusting it to sound a bit more Canadian, but it came out awkward, a bit forced, and then my instructor told me, you don't need to sound Canadian, you just have to be clear and confident. I started focusing on slowing down, enunciating my words, and projecting my voice. Your accent is a part of who you are. Just make sure that they can understand you. That's all that matters. After all, they're not testing your accent, they're testing your communication skills. Number 10, be familiar with common investigations. Refresh your memory on very common things like your CBC, electrolytes, troponins, chest x-ray, head CT, things like that. Because in some stations, you're going to be asked to interpret certain results or images. When it comes to the images, they always give you the most obvious image possible. For example, if it's a chest x-ray with a pneumothorax, you would have a very obvious pneumothorax. They won't show something that's subtle or something that's open to interpretation. After all, this is NAC OSCE and not a radiology board exam. So make sure you know all the common investigations to order and how to interpret the common results. Example again, an EKG, make sure you know how to spot an MI or a very obvious atrial fibrillation. A general rule of thumb for this is think horses, not zebras. Common things are indeed common. And number 11, trust the process. This comes in handy a few days before your exam. You've done the groundwork, you've covered your bases. Now it's time to go crush the exam. It's okay to feel nervous, but once you start and you get in the groove, all of it melts away. Good luck on your NAC OSCE. I'm sure you're going to crush it. If this helped you, let me know in the comments. And if you're prepping for the MCCQA one, make sure you check out my other video where I tell you how to crush that exam as well. Like, subscribe, and share this with anybody who's also on the IMG journey. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.